Alright, so here is a quick review of um, how to, see if I can move the toolbox, there we go. Let's, a quick review of how to do a freighting sentence. And the part that students most struggle with, the first part, step one is to write a simple sentence, subject, verb, object. Step two, you try to cram these into two steps, which is the problem, is to create a detail-rich stack separate before you put them in your sentence. And then step three is when you put them all together and then modify any words and add commas to make the sentence make sense. So what I want to do now is go over each step again and model to it from the beginning of the process. Okay, so there are 3 steps in stacking. First, simple sentence. Next, write down the information that are going to be stacked on each part of that simple sentence. Place them next to the part they stack, and then add words or modify. So let's discuss it. First, here's my simple sentence. Todd objectifies Faye. This would be for a kind of quote that I'd be using to write a paper about cruel optimism and how effective bargaining works. It may be a feminist paper as well, but Todd objectifies Faye as the base of my sentence. My base of the sentence is going to be determined by the quote, right? So it's going to happen later. So if you skip this step, it makes it hard to freight because all of a sudden you've got this much larger sentence that doesn't really work because you don't know where the stacks are. If you've added stuff in between your subject, verb, and object, it make it hard to know where to stack things. So now I say to myself, okay, I'm writing a paper about Todd and how his good life is set up by Faye and what that means. So the next step is what I do is I create, that's not the one I wanted, sorry. The next thing what I do is I create separate stacks. So this is for Todd and this is for Faye. And what that means is I write separate sentences that modify the noun. The information on Faye is not going to be about Faye, but about what Faye means for Todd, because that's the purpose of the quote I'm setting up. So remember, all this is determined by the stack is really determined by what I need to, how I need to frame that passage I want to analyze in my body paragraph. So here I want to set Todd out to be someone who has an economic motivation, and then displaces that economic motivation in Faye. So then I have here as my first stack, chased easy money. Chased easy money is my first stack. Gave up on art, working for a major studio is my next stack. This is information that helps me show how Todd is why Faye becomes such an important object, because she distracts from Todd's purpose as an artist, right? The second, I have 3 stacks for the object of the sentence. She embodies Todd's good life, a life of fantasy, rich empowerment, right? So he's powerless in his work, and he's made powerful through his fantasy with Faye. He makes the studio seem purposeful, so. There's an economic motivation that explains why he does this objectification, and that leads to the effective bargaining. So this is a kind of sentence a stack I would write if I was going to write about how Todd effectively bargains. This is the kind of thing I would set up. Okay, so I've got my stacks. I've got my subject Todd. I'm going to place these stacks, right? This stack somewhere next to Todd, and you can literally just cut and paste it, right? So Todd chased easy money, gave up on work, so you stick it there. The next Faye and embodies a good life, right? Stick it back into the sentence, and then Todd chased easy money, gave up on artwork, and then that becomes this. So when I stick it down here, Todd, I have to add a comma. Some way that didn't get bolded right. Objectifies Faye. So I've got Todd, and then here's who chased easy money, and I had to add who and a comma to make the sentence work. By giving, I had to change the gave to giving. I had to add by, right? By is my added word, right? for Mage Studio, and then I had add another comma here. Objectifies Faye, comma, as she embodies. So here's that next comma is the add, and then as is the added word. She embodies Todd's good life. Here's another comma that I've had to add. A life of fantasy rich empowerment, and then I had to add the word that to make it make sense. So these are the 3 stacks that I wanted to add to Faye. I put them there next to her, and then I tweaked them out. I worked them out with the proper punctuation and adding words. This sentence now really does a good job of setting up the quote to prepare for an effective bargaining of Todd for Faye, right? Because it explains what the economic motivation underneath it. All right. I want to thank, to review. Make it. Excuse my daughter. To review. First, write a simple sentence. Then write down the stacks for each part of that simple sentence. Next, place those stacks, those little sentences themselves, next to the parts they modify. Then add any words or modify any words to make it work. I hope this helps. Good luck.